și necătând la aceasta momentul de contemplație și
Good afternoon, dear
acțiune.
participants of the conference. I'll introduce myself. My name is Konstantin Borisovich Vasilyev. I'm a doctor. I work as a physiotherapist and also have a specialization in psychotherapy, reflexology. I got acquainted with the teachings of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi in 2005, and now I'm a teacher at the Grigory
Dacă e să
Grabovoi Education Center.
dăm un volum mare
I would like to
de
express my gratitude to Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi for the opportunity to share with you the result of using the PRK1U device in a clinic setting. Applying the control methods outlined in the writings of Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi, I had many positive results on particular tasks. Today, I want to share the result of using the PRK1U device to protect the population from infection with the infectious disease COVID-19. The work was carried out in the period from February to May 2020 on the basis of the district polyclinic. The individual PRK1U device was in my office at the clinic. It was a red zone, that is, a place where patients with complaints of fever, cough, and olfactory impairment were examined. The device was in the clinic building for 3 months, February, March, April. And during this period, the medical staff working in the red zone didn't get sick. 3 doctors who served patients at home got sick in the clinic, but their illness was mild. And this is despite the fact that in a medical institution located in the same area, but at a fairly large distance from the clinic, there were 7 deaths among the medical staff, according to an employee of the institution. Before the May holidays, April 30, the device was removed from the clinic building, and it was noted that in the absence of the device, the number of patients assigned to this clinic increased by about 3 times over the period from May to July, that is, 3 months. This clearly demonstrates the possibilities of using the PRK1 device for the prevention and treatment of coronavirus infection. I will provide available statistics for 2 months. From March 16 to May 9, 2020, 47 people fell ill. This is the period during which the PRK1U device was in the clinic. From May 9 to June 12, 2020, 186 people fell ill. During this period, the device was not in the clinic. I would also like to note that in order to solve the problem of preventing and treating COVID-19, Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi remotely expanded the functionality of the device. The device ensured safety within a radius of 1 kilometer, which is clearly seen from the statistical data. I would like to express my deep gratitude to Grigory Petrovich Grabovoi for such powerful support of people in the area of health promotion and the ability to resist aggressive infections and even in case of illness to undergo the process in the shortest possible time, 3-4 days, and return to a state of health without complications. What complications arise with this disease? Central nervous system, anxiety, depression, memory, attention, speed of thinking deteriorate. Learning difficulties arise, headaches, irritability, insomnia. Acute cerebrovascular disorders, confusion, dizziness, are also observed.
Ceea ce este mai
Cardiovascular
deosebit este
system,
faptul că
development
putem
of
intra aproape
arrhythmia,
imediat în
decompensation of
acțiunea de
cardiac
gestiune fără
activity,
explicație
and even
prealabilă a
occurrence
ceea ce
of
trebuie făcut pentru
myocardial
a obține
infarction.
această.
Dick syndrome, disorders of the blood coagulation system, leads to occurrence of multiple blood clots, hence heart attacks, strokes.
Este condiționat de faptul că însăși acțiunea de gestiune
Lungs,
este foarte
occurrence of
ușoară
viral
și
pneumonia,
momentul
remote
acesta este
consequences,
contemplarea
pulmonary
dezvoltării ei.
fibrosis. In areas of fibrosis, there is no breathing. Damage to internal organs is noted, and this is far from all the information on the manifestations of
Dacă e să
complications with
explicăm sau să oferim
COVID-19.
explicații, poate dura ceva timp, o perioadă foarte mare de timp.
Taking into account all the above, we can conclude that the PRK1U device provides powerful protection, and in
Deci va
case
fi
of illness,
structurată
it
pentru
ensures the
informațiile
absence of
deja
such a
cunoscute
large
pentru
number
majoritatea din
of
noi,
complications, each of which can lead to disability or death. And the statistics provided show that in the absence of the device, we
este
received
bazată
an
pe faptul
increase
că
in
oamenii care sunt
morbidity
prezenți
by
aici sunt
more
deja
than 3
familiarizați cu
times.
învățătorul lui Grigore Grabovoi.
The use of the PRK1U device has clearly demonstrated the effectiveness of its work, and these are thousands of saved human lives. It is impossible to underestimate the importance of this
Și
device technology.
în orice caz trebuie să înțelegem întotdeauna ce obiectiv ne propunem, adică nu
I will say
întotdeauna
about
trebuie
myself
să-l
that
exprimăm,
while
să-l stabilim
working in
inițial.
control technologies for the prevention of COVID-19 using the individual device PRK1U, I haven't been ill with this infection, which also proves the effectiveness of using the
Deci și
device
direcția
and the
pe care lucrăm
corresponding control
acum sau ceea ce
technologies.
implementăm este un macronivel, este protecția lumii pentru dezvoltarea sa,
This is
dezvoltarea
where
armoniei
I
noastre.
end my message. Thank you all for your attention. Good day. Greetings to all of you. My name is Ljubica Jelaka Renner. I'm from Croatia and I have been in Germany for 33 years. I'm a graduate
Și scopul
economist
poate
and a
suna un pic
natural
mai neobișnuit,
health
dar este
practitioner
destul de
with
nobil,
my own practice in
promițător
Paso.
și poate oferi mai multe
I
oportunități.
only discovered the teachings of Grigori Grabovoi in 2010, and since then I have found answers to all my questions. Why am I participating now? Due to Grigori Grabovoi's recommendation and because of the unexpected experiences I had with the PRK1U device. I'm now here to convey how it all happened.
Scopul în sine este următorul, cum să facem
First, I will read my text
învățătura lui Grigore
and then
Grabovoi
I will
mai
convey the
eficientă, folosind
answers to my
tehnologiile
questions from
și
Grigori
antrenamentul
Grabovoi.
cu aceste tehnologii
So,
în sine.
as I said, first I will read my text. Afterward, I will read the answers from Grigori Grabovoi. I have been studying the teachings of Grabovoi since 2010, that is for 14 years. In that time, I found answers to
Adică
all the
sunt
questions
nivele
that
unde
I
putem
have been
înțelege
asking
anumite tehnologii
myself
specifice,
since
putem
early
înțelege totalitatea
childhood,
lor,
age
combinând
4.
blocuri întregi de
From the beginning, I also
tematici
worked
și
with
să
the
vedem
PRK1U device invented
diferențele
by
cu
Grigori
ele și
Grabovoi,
așa mai
but
departe.
only partially or superficially. For me, the essence was always his teachings, his seminars, and his very detailed explanations in every respect. Our colleague, Erika Weber, who attended almost every seminar and webinar, left this plane on November 5th, 2023. Before she passed, She left me some of her paintings, which she had created, books, other items, and all the books by
Și
Grigori Grabovoi she
cum nu ar
studied,
arăta,
along
le
with the
trimit să prezenteze.
PRK1U containing
Deci,
her personal
sensul
data.
învățăturii lui Grigore Grabovoi este
I
și
couldn't easily cope with
pentru
her departure
studiul
from this
individual.
plane.
Noi
About a month
cunoaștem că această
later, I
învățătură în
turned on
totalitate
her
prin
PRK1U
citirea
and
tehnologiilor
turned it
sau
off again
tot
after
întreg,
about
care are un nivel
1-2
conceptual
minutes.
care vine din organizarea.
Upon activating the device, I felt an indescribable sensation, as though she was extremely connected with the
Și
device
aici este
and
ceva ce
it
unește
emitted
toate
an extreme
tehnologiile,
level of
inclusiv și
power and
tehnologie înspre
influence.
macro-nivel.
The size and strength emanating from Erica's PRK1U were striking. During the webinar, method
Și în
of
cazul dat
approaching
și
the
este
physical
însăși
body of the
viața.
one God, we, the webinar participants, worked together in two joint concentration sessions on Erica's resurrection. During the first resurrection concentration, I
Adică
clearly
această
sensed
gestiune
Erica
se dorit
felt her
să
joy.
fie efectuată
During
nu
the
doar
second
dintr-un
concentration,
nivel
I
logic al
received
conștiinței,
nothing
dar și
from Erica.
printr-un aspect,
I kept Erica's
să zic,
device switched
personal.
off from November 2023 to October 2, 2024. After 11 months, I wanted to know what was happening with Erica's PRK1U, as I
Încercați să
intended
lucrați și să
to
fiți
send
în
this
același timp
device to
atenți,
someone
sensibili,
interested in
și
testing it.
cât mai mult natural.
So, I switched on Erica Weber's PRK1U and the following occurred. Yesterday, October
Deci
3rd,
scopul
I
gestiunii este următor.
experienced using Erica Weber's PRK1U as I hadn't turned it on since her passing 11 months earlier. Immediately after turning it on, I felt slight nausea. This lasted for about 2 minutes. I sat about
În
1 meter
esență, obțineți
away
aici un
from her
instrument
PRK1U
suplimentar
and saw a small light blue
care vă va
sphere
ajuta, va
about
crește
70
nivelul de
centimeters
posibilității
above
resurselor
the
pe care
center of the
le
device,
implementați
surrounded
ca un
by a
potențial mare în
white
raport
mist.
cu cu gestiunile care le veți face în viitor
This
și care vor
sphere
fi
was very
implementate.
stable and didn't move. After a few seconds, I realized that this was her, Erica's soul, and I recognized that all her information
Urmăriți
was
corpul
there.
dumneavoastră.
Then I realized that this device shouldn't be given to just anyone, but should be brought to Croatia in the Lika region,
Intrați
where Erica
în
wanted to buy land and live.
percepția dumneavoastră,
Once the
percepție
building I'm
vizuală,
planning
puteți să vă
for
priviți din
teaching
afară.
purposes is completed. While perceiving her PRK1U, I
Reacțiunea
tried to
faptului că
activate
corpul
the
este
third
acel
mode,
fenomen care este
but it
realizat
didn't
pentru
work.
dumneavoastră.
It activated for about 1 second and then immediately shut off again.
Realizați
I
acest
tried to activate
fenomen
the
pentru
third mode
dumneavoastră și
3
încercați
times
să
without
înțelegeți ceea
success.
ce vă dă Dumnezeu
I
și
took
în ce
this
trăiți.
as a clear sign that Erica was not on the physical level, but in the subtle realm of the device.
Adică dumneavoastră
That
trăiți în
evening,
corp,
I
dar
turned off
toate
the
acestea
device.
corpul și este o
This
parte a
morning,
dumneavoastră,
October 4,
dumneavoastră.
I turned it on again, and this time the third mode was activated. I took this as her return to the physical level. I sent this text to Patrice Vernet as we had been discussing a
Adică
collaboration
corpul
with
dumneavoastră
Lydia
cum
Gruber,
este
and I shared this experience
apărarea
verbally
dumneavoastră în
and in text with
vederea
him.
acțiunilor viitoare, cum vă veți dezvolta, cum veți simți.
He sent the text to Grigory Grabovoi, but on October 10th, I also sent the text to Grigory
Măriți-vă
Grabovoi
respirația
directly.
dumneavoastră.
On the same day, Patrice received the following response from Grigory Grabovoi, quotes, "It's possible to tell Lubitsa
Și o
that
faceți
the sphere
conștientizat,
is
dar în
part of the
această
soul, that
conștientizare
is,
încercați
the
să
control
simțiți
came from the soul of
toate,
Erica Weber.
toate nuanțele respirațiilor. Încercați să simțiți orice mișcare.
The third mode activated for about 1 second because the artificial intelligence function was activated in the PRK1U settings as it responded to the control from Erica Weber's soul when the physical body's information was far away.
Urmăriți fluxurile de energie în care vă găsiți, poate cele care vă intersectează în totalitate,
The next
toate
day, on
unele
October
care
4th,
nu
the
au
device
început,
was activated
de
because the
parcă nu ar avea un
information of
început.
the soul replaced the information of the physical body, which, as Lubitsa reported, indicated Erika Weber's return to the physical plane.
Și corpul dumneavoastră, cu toate acestea, nu dispare de percepție, încă este perceptibil.
This
Poate ieșiți
describes
la un
the
alt
case
nivel.
where the soul acted through PRK1U with the experience of working with PRK1U, so that the
Din punct de
manifested
vedere al
resurrection
concentrării
could
atenției
occur more
dumneavoastră,
quickly. It's essential to tell Lubitsa that her observation is very important.
și dacă
This
doriți, puteți
observation shows
întări
that
simultan
it's
două niveluri
possible
de
to
percepție
accelerate the
și
process of
nivelul
manifested
energetic al corpului.
resurrection by using PRK1U, especially for those on whom the knowledge of resurrection technologies, according to the
Atunci
teachings,
spectrul
is
de
applied,
percepție va fi
and
mai
also to speed up
larg,
the general resurrection.
mai profund.
This knowledge also makes it possible to realize the processes
Și
of eternal
încercați să vă
life
atingeți
in their physical bodies, not only for
regiunile unde
those
sunt
who
concentrate
practice
emoțiile
the
dumneavoastră,
teachings, but
încercați să vă
also
atingeți în
to
afară.
extend eternal life to everyone due to the increased stability of the processes of eternal life. End quotes.
Încercați să înțelegeți că se întâmplă o armonizare
Through what has happened,
care este
I
și
have begun to
spre corpul
understand
dumneavoastră
and
și cu
directly
fluxurile de energie
experience
și cu
the
elementele
importance
respirației
of the
dumneavoastră
device
și în general în
and its
toate.
immense significance for resurrection. Since then, something new happens every day in contact with Erica through the device. Every day, I perceive her in a new, different way, particularly that she is often
Intrați prin
traveling but
percepție
also
în spațiul
returns.
gândirii dumneavoastră. Este un nivel
My
exact
intentions
al
were
realității
not to
dumneavoastră
work on
proprii.
resurrection now, although many relatives and friends lost in wars have left this plane.
Unde spațiul gândirii dumneavoastră și este un element de
Recently,
realitate al
since I
întregii
started
lumi
working on her
infinite,
return through Erica Weber's PRK1U, the resurrection of others has also happened
prin
unexpectedly.
prisma mișcării absolute.
Through everything that has happened with Erica Weber's PRK1U, I have understood that the device has a
Dacă este
far
așa,
greater
puteți ști
impact
exact că
and power than
spațiul
one
gândirii
could
dumneavoastră
imagine.
este infinit.
What is written here marks the beginning of the general resurrection for which
Încercați să vă răspândiți
PRK1U
în acest
and
element al sinelui
PRK1UM
dumneavoastră
offer
în
us
infinitul
all
însuși.
immense support. This is what I wanted to convey. I wish our teacher Grigori Grabovoi
Da,
all the
puteți avea
best on his
senzația
birthday.
că foarte clară că
Best
este
wishes for
așa,
his
este
arrival
real
on
și
this
sunt
earth, supporting
lărgite
everyone on earth,
limitele și
the entire
percepția
cosmos, and
dumneavoastră se
accelerating our development.
adâncește.
Thank you again. Best wishes to all. With love,
Crește
Ljubica.
legătura în acțiunea între sufletul dumneavoastră cu conștiința dumneavoastră.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Silvia Rolle. I'm 66 years old and work as an independent nurse. My husband and I have been
Și cum
studying the
apare,
teachings
mă
of Mr.
firesc
Grigori Grabovoi since
aproape la fiecare când pe care îl
2017.
dezvoltați în spațiul real
After
al
attending
gândirii.
a seminar in July 2017 in Oberschellesheim, Munich, with Mr. Konev on the topic of
Mențineți
control of
percepția
time, our lives began to
spațiului
change
infinit câteva
positively.
secunde.
This evening, I would like to share my experiences using three PRK1U devices
Unde puteți
operating
percepe
simultaneously.
limitele,
My husband and I gradually
limitele
purchased
infinite
three
personale.
PRK1U devices using our retirement savings, the first in 2020 and the other two the following year. We originally wanted to place one PRK1U device in each of our sons' homes to protect them and those around them. However, our sons were not yet ready for this, so we left all three devices turned on at our home 24 hours a day. I work with one device every night for at least an hour to ensure macro salvation, focus on eternal life for all, and spread the teachings of Mr. Grigori Grabovoi with the number sequence 17841221. Additionally, I also work for our personal goals and events. If I don't have time, I'm too tired, and don't work for 2 nights, the device simply stops blinking. I then have to turn it off completely and restart it. Mr. Grabovoi wrote about this. This is the work of the artificial intelligence of the PRK1U devices, which, through self-development within a group of devices, operates more effectively and indicates when it is necessary to work with the devices regularly. This is a new kind of artificial intelligence that only works in PRK1U or PRK1UM, which no other technical devices in the world yet possess, operating on a field level, developing and interacting with consciousness. We noticed that since these three PRK1U devices have been on, no one has died in our village. There are many very ill people here, also due to vaccination side effects, but no one has died. One woman left her body by suicide. Others have died in nursing homes that are much further away, and someone died in the hospital. A colleague of mine who lives near Geneva also has three PRK1U devices running simultaneously in her village, and she told me a year ago that no one in that village has died since the devices were operational. Mr. Grabovoi writes, Sylvia's message about preventing death in villages where three PRK1U devices are in continuous operation is very important for developing technology to prevent the death of those living near PRK1U or PRK1UM devices, or even better, a group of multiple devices, or ideally systems of 25 devices, all specially aligned for maximum mutual enhancement to ensure eternal life for all. This is supported by similar cases confirming that people are not dying in areas where the devices are located.
care pe un prim plan
Similar cases in which people don't die where the
se manifestă
devices
prin
are
faptul cât de
located are
simplu
increasing. As Sylvia
trăiți,
wrote, the device
astfel
works
încât pur și
very
simplu
well.
trăiți fără
My
să
husband became
simțiți
seriously ill
dificultăți.
with heart problems in the spring. His heart was fluttering more than it was beating, and his pulse was racing at around 150 to
Asta și
100
este
beats per
parte a
minute.
învățăturii din
My husband couldn't longer sleep, and eventually he
primul
couldn't
nivel
eat either.
al
It
caracteristicilor
was all
vieții
too
însăși.
much for his heart. He wanted to listen to lectures and prayers, but he couldn't bear anything anymore. He wrote the phrase, "Believe and trust, it helps, divine power heals," on a matchbox and put small stones in it
Dacă, de
so that
exemplu,
he
vreți
always
să
knew
citiți
where the box was at night and could read this
sau
phrase
pur și simplu
with
vreți să
a
respirați,
flashlight whenever he needed. At that time, he refused to see a doctor or go to the hospital. I, however,
încercați
trusted the
să înțelegeți de
PRK1U
ce se
and
întâmplă asta.
believed
Pur și
he
simplu
wouldn't
cere
die,
corpul
so
dumneavoastră
I worked with the
are această
PRK1U
necesitate.
on his health during that period. After 3 weeks of severe suffering, our sons came by to say goodbye to their father. He was only a shadow of his former self. For the sake of our sons, he agreed to go to the hospital, so we drove immediately to the
Sau
emergency
însăși
room
viața vă
where
pune
he was
să
treated.
vă mișcați
Of
spre asta,
course,
să
we
vă
brought
mișcați
a
spre sursă de
PRK1U with
apă
us.
sau să căutați
Shortly
această apă.
thereafter, about 2 hours later, he felt much better and was able to have dinner. After that, he wanted to go home. After just under 3 days, he was back home and slept for 2 weeks with only brief interruptions. My husband has recovered very well and is back to working outdoors, doing physical tasks like woodworking, gardening, and
Să
so
găsiți
on.
spațiul unde puteți respira
Is
mai
also
liber, să
now
vedeți un
working
cer
much more
infinit sau
intensively
să
in mental and spiritual pursuits.
vedeți o plantă.
A very old cat, which was very ill, was run over in front of our house. My husband thought that it didn't want to go on living in sickness any longer. Another cat was also very old and sick. Time and again, we would retrieve it half dead from the basement or elsewhere and care for
Încercați
it.
să înțelegeți
Each
că nu
time it
sunt
was
doar
already very cold
niște
and
nevoi
barely
ale
breathing.
dumneavoastră, dar să vă concentrați
But we
pe
nursed it
viață,
and
că
it slowly
viața vă
recovered again.
îndreaptă
Then it stopped
să
eating and
simțiți
drinking. It
mai
accepted
profund
nothing more and lay
toate
down
acestea
on
și
the
însăși viața.
menu file. That was clear. With a heavy heart, I took her to the vet, who gave her an injection to end her life. When we buried her in the garden, I saw her sitting beside her grave, watching us. She seemed content.
Durata gândurilor
Mr. Grabovoi writes, there is also
Gândiți-vă la ceea ce se
information
întâmplă chiar
confirming
acum.
Sylvia's description of the rapid resurrection of pets affected by the devices. Currently, research is being
Încercați să
conducted
simțiți
based on
viața
concrete
dumneavoastră,
evidence
unde se află
showing that
gândirea
products
dumneavoastră, cum
near
partea
a
noastră.
functioning PRK1U or PRK1UM device don't decay, and harmful bacteria and viruses are destroyed. Possible helpers for our village. Before I wake up in the morning, I occasionally receive visits from those who have passed on. Many would like to
Este așa un
return.
moment că atunci când
Once,
gândiți,
in the
atunci
middle of last
permiteți
year,
vieții să se
Theo
realizeze prin
came. He was
dumneavoastră
the mayor of the village
și
where I
vă
live
dă
and was
oportunitatea
very
de a trăi mai
popular.
profund,
With
să aveți
him were
posibilitatea
many who
acestei
had passed
învățături.
on, also from this village. I knew most of them. They talked among themselves about
Și
how
percepția
important it
dumneavoastră
was to
poate să o turneze
return
cu viața
for the people in the
mai
village.
ușor, pentru că viața
Theo
este
pointed
mereu
at
aici.
me and said to them, "It will all turn out well because Sylvia knows how." He laughed, waved to me, and left. When I woke up, I discussed it with my
Și
husband,
uitați-vă, poate
and we
fi un pic
began working with the
subiect.
book The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life From Now On is Our Reality by Mr. Grigori Grabovoi, but somehow we didn't make much progress. At the beginning of the year, I found a
De exemplu,
resurrection
dacă
group
înțelegeți
led
că
by Ines
gândirea dumneavoastră
Wayland
este
Berkeley.
terminată de
We
prezența
work
vieții
with this
și
book there as
puteți să
well, and I'm able to
lansat
understand
proiectul
and
de
apply
dumneavoastră.
more and more of it. My husband supports me wherever he can. I know that many of those who have passed on want to return also to support and help us. Through Lubitsa's writing, I have gained the courage to work more with the
Și atunci când
PRK1U for the
Dumnezeu a creat
resurrection of
lumea, el
people
știa că el
and
va trimite în
animals.
această
I
lume
have reached the end of my
el
talk,
însuși
and I would like to say a
și
few words
va fi
about
în ea,
Mr.
va trăi în
Grabovoi.
această lume.
Dear Mr. Grabovoi,
Adică
my
acolo unde
husband and
el
I
este viața.
wholeheartedly congratulate you on your birthday and wish you all the best. We thank you sincerely for your tireless and wonderful dedication to people,
Și
animals, our
dacă
Mother Earth, and
Dumnezeu
so
a
much
gândit
more.
acest
We are
lucru,
profoundly grateful to have been led to your teachings, and we are able to integrate them
gândiți că
gradually
el a
into
trăit
our
chiar și
lives
până la
and
creația
the
sa.
lives of all beings. Thank you all for your attention, and I wish you all a good evening and a joyful eternal life. I have read the reports and testimonies of Dr. Vasiliev that in hospitals where the PRK1U is constantly working, even during the height of the coronavirus infection, people didn't die.
Una din percepțiile lui Dumnezeu
And
este că
in another
viața a
hospital with
fost
the same
chiar și
conditions
acolo,
where there was
înainte
no
de a era
PRK1U,
el,
people
viața a
died.
existat întotdeauna.
I also read the reports and results described by Lubitsa and Sylvia. Sylvia, that in Switzerland there is a village where people work continuously,
Și reieșim
work
faptul
with
că
several
chiar
PRK1U
dacă viața
devices,
este derivată,
people and
Dumnezeu, el a
animals
creat-o.
stop dying or are quickly resurrected. And also with the results or testimony of the interaction of the soul of the departed, in fact, resurrected follower with the PRK1U device. I can conclude that the results described in the testimonies and reports of Lubitsa and Sylvia correspond to the functions of the PRK1U and PRK1UM. I can also share my work experience, in particular in October 2024, when working as a group for different purposes with devices, several participants who had 3 devices, PRK1U and PRK1UM, working continuously, observed such an effect that in the space behind the instrument panels, when the spread of consciousness expanded to the event horizon of eternal life, with the increase in control, there was a standardization and compaction of information in individual events. Moreover, the condensation was carried out by such spherical layers of consciousness. They were condensed in the horizontal plane. The concentration increased in events, and in the end, such a bright light of eternity flashed. The accumulation of the matter of eternity took place. Also, on November 4, quite recently, when working collectively to heal a person who was in intensive care, we observed a similar effect as Sylvia describes in her testimony and message. In the image of the woman we worked on, at a level below, just below the edge of the ribs of the abdominal cavity, we saw 2 horizontally located, 2 bright blue spheres, about 10 centimeters in diameter. They were surrounded, as in a fog, by a bright silvery white mist. And the glow from these spheres rose up, enveloped, as it were, encompassed the stomach of this person for whom we were working and
Acea
the
etapă din
lower
poziția lui
part
Dumnezeu
of
unde
the
descoperiți și
esophagus.
optim propria viață sau reacția care există în
All these testimonies, all this information and its analysis allow us to conclude that when using the devices PRK1U and PRK1UM, as well as from groups of 25 or 23 interconnected devices, the development of concentration of eternal life occurs, both at the user of these devices and in the places where the devices are
rezultă că pentru
located,
Dumnezeu
the events
viața
of
nu este doar
eternal
ceea ce
life are
este
concentrated.
în
So,
viață,
in the
este ceea ce
neighborhood
este
near the devices,
totul,
people stop dying.
este tot.
People, animals, well, in fact, it
Planeta.
turns out all living beings. When groups of 3 devices or more than 3 devices are continuously operating, the efficiency is more
Ceea ce
expressed
este pur
by
și
this
simplu și ce
work.
este în jur.
And the radius of propagation of the
Chiar
field of
dacă ceva în
eternity
acest moment
containing the
este
matter of eternity
fără
is
mișcare.
wider than when using a single device. As a result of this analysis and analysis of the operation of the devices, it's possible to make a recommendation to the heads of organizations, enterprises, to hire employees who have tested the devices and instruct them to work on the devices on the territory of these organizations to create the territory of eternal life.
Pentru a continua să cercetați proprietățile vieții și caracteristicile ei,
Well, after all, to connect these separate territories or relatively local areas to ensure eternal life for all.
priviți ca și cum ați
Thank you all
ați
for your
înscris și ați
attention.
primit lume
I thank the
în
organizers
grupare
of the
fizică
conference
și tot
for the
cățelul celulă,
invitation.
o primă celulă.
Congratulations to Grigori Petrovich Grabovoi on his
Această celulă
birthday.
conține
I am very grateful for the teachings, for these magnificent devices, and for the opportunity to participate in saving people in universal salvation. It is a great honor for me. Thank you.
Cea lume care este
Goodbye.
percepută simultan și în interiorul dumneavoastră.
Of the scientific conference on the topic PRK1U and PRK1UM technologies and salvation of humanity.
Adică nu este o împărțire în două lumi exterioară și lumea interioară, dar lumea este una și aceeași. Ea este și ea este în interiorul dumneavoastră.
Sylvia and Dr. Konstantin Vasiliev at this conference confirm the possibility of creating zones of non-dying in which the PRK1U devices operate. This practice is a platform for creating at first local territories of eternal life, and then it will allow to cover the whole world with the ensuring of eternal life. According to scientific calculations, the range of the system of 25 devices in the training centers is 7 kilometers.
Până la momentul actual, mama dumneavoastră a fost elementul vieții exterioare pentru
static
dumneavoastră.
waves of reality, according to the theory of wave synthesis, connecting device system in accordance with the patent information carrying
Și nu
system.
pentru că este exterioară, dar
The
pentru că lumea este
concentration
una.
of the events of eternal life increases many times, increasing the immortality along those lines. The closer the system of 25 devices are, the more intense bursts or explosion of dynamic optical regions dynamic waveforce reality
Când dumneavoastră vă
appear
nașteți,
over
există
static
o lume
optical
sferelor
lines
intermediare în
according to the
care, de exemplu,
results
ascultați
of physical
cuvintele,
and
deoarece
mathematical calculation, and
ele
then
există deja
this
după naștere.
makes it possible for the territories of undying to manifest themselves. When a group of 3 devices and the system of 25 devices interact,
Percepeți
the
căldură
territory of
sau
non-dying,
altceva.
according to calculation, increases from 7 kilometers, as mentioned above, when only the system of 25 devices is operating, to 21 kilometers when the system of 25 devices is
Observați
operating
anumite evenimente
simultaneously with a
foarte
group of
mai
3
clar și mai clar
devices.
care se întâmplă.
Therefore, in addition to training,
Și în
having a
acest nivel
system of
intermediar este
25
ceea ce
devices
vă
and the group of 3
permite
connected
dezvoltarea
devices,
voastră.
it's possible to carry out scientific and practical activities to implement the established functions, which is of great importance for
Însănătoșirea
ensuring
de care
eternal
este
life
nevoie
for
sau mai multă
oneself and
sănătate decât
everyone
care o
in their
le aveți.
physical bodies. Therefore, it is necessary to set a control goal to increase the creation of centers with 25 and 28 devices as quickly as possible.
Și atunci,
With
dacă
the
este această
systematic
lume a
work
sistemelor
of marketing
intermediare, se
specialists on
dorește fi
promotion,
acolo
those
și
centers can only be
propria
fully loaded
cei
with
ce
students and
evidențiază
provide financial profit in addition to intensive education, but
și în
can
la
also
acest nivel
develop
intermediar,
scientific
viața dumneavoastră
activities
contactează
to
cu Dumnezeu.
increase the intensity of connection between the centers to ensure eternal life for all.
Mai mult ca atât, contactează cu
The followers
viața
of the
lui
teachings
Dumnezeu.
are invited to increase the activity of control, participation, and assistance in the creation of
Adică acolo unde
centers with
apare
25
înțelegerea
and
faptului
28
că este
devices to create at first local
viața
territories of
externă
eternal
și
life and then to cover the whole world with the provision of eternal life. I thank all the participants and guests
este un nivel foarte
of our
important unde
scientific
puteți
conference
avea
for their
o
participation
personalitate integră.
and invite them to become colleagues in the process of implementing the task set to ensure eternal life for everybody.